Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our parent orientation night for our incoming sixth graders for next school year. I'm Frank Califano, principal of Miraleste. We have a great team to discuss what next year might look like and also some summer information. So I just want to introduce the team real quick. First and foremost, we have Mike Leholt, who is our amazing assistant principal. We have Kara Melanovsky. She is our comprehensive academic counselor. As some of you have already stated, we have Ms. Lisa Larson, another comprehensive academic counselor. We also have Elizabeth Godbold, who is going to be running our summer programs. And Emily Lamb is our school psychologist. She is not with us tonight. So I just want to welcome you. I was kind of hoping by now we would be able to meet in person. And when we started the planning of this day, or of this evening, I should say, things were still kind of out of control as far as the COVID piece. And so I think the decision to do this online again was probably the right one at that time. But with everything changing so quickly now, I think if we could have waited a couple weeks, which we couldn't, and I'll explain why in a few minutes, it might have been fun to have everybody in our TAB again and see your faces and see everybody live. My thought is that will happen next year, and hopefully we'll never have this situation again. So again, I just want to welcome you all. We're going to go through some things that, we'll do it fairly quickly and there'll be a lot of information, but we'll also have this recorded and it'll be on the mis.pvp.u website. I'm sorry. And you'll be able to look at it and get information there. We'll also have documents that will be posted there occasionally so that you can take a look at that. First and foremost, I want to introduce some very important people who aren't with us tonight, but run our parent organizations. PTSA is run by Ms. Linda Oreb. She is our PTSA president. She probably will not be the president next year. We're having a new person come in to run that. And at this time, I do not know who that is. So Linda Oreb has been fantastic in our PTSA, and schools work hand in hand and they're great. Our Booster Club is run by Stacy Gerard. Can't say enough good things about the Booster Club and all the things they do for our kids. And our Ed Foundation, Laura Hughes. I just want to celebrate our parent groups because they are phenomenal. Now, I want to get Miss Elizabeth Godbold on here so she can discuss some of the things about summer school that I highly recommend the summer school program at Miraleste. Liz, all yours. You're muted, Liz.
Sorry about that. I should know that by now. Hi, everybody. I am here tonight just to introduce the summer school program to you. And we have a brief 5 slides or so that we're going to go through. So first off, why should your kids come to our summer school? And really, it is such a great way for them to get introduced to our campus. The summer school program is 4 weeks long, and they will feel so comfortable when they come back in August. They will have made some friends. They will know where all the bathrooms are, where the cafeteria is, where all their classes are. And they also will have a chance on our staff. 10 out of the 12 teachers on our staff for summer school are current Miraleste teachers. So it's a great way for them to also be introduced to some of the teachers. And come August, you all might be nervous at your homes about them starting middle school, but they will feel so much better because of the exposure that they had during the summer school. So that's probably the most key point. Okay, go ahead, Lisa. Some things for you to consider. There's so many, I know, options. There's summer camps, junior guards, all those good things. The summer school program is $700, and when you break it down, it's 18 days, and when you break it down per hour, it ends up being $9.72 an hour. So I think it's a great deal. It's probably a lot cheaper than babysitters. And this summer, it's a whole new format to the PEP summer school program. There are 3 blocks. Each of the blocks has 4 classes. So when you sign up for a block, let's say you sign up for block 1, you would get the 4 classes that you see listed there: chef class, CSI, ceramics, and around the world. And if you notice, we have Around the World in all 3 blocks because it has really become one of the most popular classes that we have in our summer school. They basically go and visit, it'll be 18 different countries during the 18 days, and they learn customs and traditions. They eat food from those countries. And so it's just really a very fun enrichment class. And that's why we have it listed there 3 times. There we go. Your students, your children this week should be bringing home a brochure. And in the brochure, there are going to be the descriptions of all of these classes. So here's block 1. Ms. Larson's going to scroll through tonight, block 2 and the block 3. And so when they bring home this brochure to you about summer school, you can read about all of the different classes and decide which of the blocks sounds most interesting to you. And here's just a picture of some of the kids over the years having fun in some of the classes that they've taken. And finally, there's just a couple more slides here. If you would opt to have your student take a math class this summer instead of all enrichment classes, there is an option for that, but it's only at the Ridgecrest campus. So it's a 2-hour class, and it's for the 5th grade students who were not recommended for accelerated math in 6th grade, but if you still would like them to be in that class in the fall, this is a way for them to get some exposure to the materials and keep up their math skills during the summer. But again, that's at the Ridgecrest campus. So if you do sign up, make sure you sign up for that site and not the Miraleste site. And then finally, the registration opens up on April 12th at 9 a.m. It is a good idea to sign up early because especially if one of the blocks is more popular than the other, as soon as it fills up, it's a first come, first serve basis. And so as soon as the block fills up, then that block will be closed. So all the registration, you should be able to click on that link if this is available online. I know the 5th grade teachers at Mira Catalina and Dalpo Gray, they put it on their Google Classrooms. So on April 12th, if you do want to sign up, you can just access the Google Classroom, and the presentation is there, and that will get you right over to the website. And I think that's it. I look forward to meeting your children at Miraleste during the summer school program if they decide to take it. That's it. Thank you.
Mrs. Godbold,
Yes.
quick question about summer school. Someone wants to know, is there like a cap on the maximum number of students per block?
Yes, I believe it's 100 per block. So most would be 25 kids per class.
I think it's Mrs. Malinowski's turn to talk. Hi, everybody. This is my 15th year here. I have my 2nd child out in a few months, so I will actually maybe now be Mrs. Malinowski and not Tucker or Taylor's mom. So I might actually be the real me. So here's a little bit of middle school 101. And these are things that if you're one of our feeder schools, we'll be going to your school and talking to your 5th graders. So you will hear some of this, but it's obviously good for the parents to also hear it. So your 6th grade schedule of your child will include the core subjects that you get now, along with PE, which will be every day, which will be different than what you have now, and the elective wheel or music. So students will be able to pick year-long music, which is your elective the entire year. I'm not sure what part of the school day will be at. Currently, we had, it also depends on the numbers of kids that are interested in sign up. We have all 3 grades together and it's 0 period, but to be determined for that. Or you pick one of the wheels, which will be shown to your students, and it will cover, you'll get to pick 3 out of 4 electives. And again, not in this order, as well as the classes you see up there. It's not like everyone's gonna have math first, science, and social studies. So the electives that they would pick in a wheel, which will be 1 trimester each, could be Intro to Spanish, which it doesn't mean if you speak Spanish or not, just gives you a little foundation of the language and the areas of reading, writing, speaking, and reading it, listening. There'll also be Studio Art, and she does a little bit of every piece of art to get your child excited for 7th and 8th grade electives that might be a little bit more specific in areas of art. So in studio art, there'll just be a foundation of art skills, appreciating different aspects of art. There might be sketching, drawing, painting, using clay, and other forms that she uses, paper mache. She kind of changes it up every year to kind of just keep the kids interested. There will also be STEM intro class. This introduces students to the application of science and math, a little bit of engineering, building. They will use computer programs. We have 3D printers at our school. So that would be in the intro STEM class. Then there's a write study skills class, which has different kinds of writings, maybe persuasive, creative, narrative. Kids learn some study skills, some organization, note-taking, and maybe learning how to revise their work, edit their work. That's a wonderful class to start middle school. In elementary school, you guys obviously are used to numbers 1 through 4. I don't think there's a 5 anymore. Now we're letters. So A, B, C, D, F. No E. And we are not credit-based, so it's just letters at our school. You won't have the credits until you get to high school, which will be letter grades and credits, which they will learn in 8th grade. They will have 2 lockers. One will be up top here, and they're kind of segregated a little bit, separated to be closer to like 6th grade classrooms. So lockers for 6th graders will typically be in a certain area. 7th grade, they'll get a new one. 8th grade, they'll get a new one. There will also be one in PE. The PE teachers will assign them. We do have lockers that you would buy here. It's best to buy them here because if your kid forgets a combination, which even 8th graders do, we have the key to open it up for them. We also have a book of combinations to look up and help them remember what their combination is if they don't have it written down somewhere. You can buy double locks, meaning your academic lock and your PE lock could be the same combination. So they only have to remember 1 set of numbers, which is super helpful. The kids have about 5 minutes to get to class. Sometimes they stop in between classes to their locker, sometimes every 2 classes. Sometimes they don't have to stop until lunchtime because they carry all their things. They don't have backpacks, so that's why they visit their locker a little bit often. When they arrive to PE, they do, even when the PE bell rings to start class, they have about 10 to 15 minutes to change, I believe, and then get on their numbers down at the blacktop in PE. However, that will all be at orientation during the first week of school during their PE classes. And it's not uncommon for kids to be late to classes. We understand we're in the hallways those first 2 weeks of school. We're not going to be marking kids tardy. We definitely have to cut them some slack, and that's okay. We also have supports that include, we've had homework club in the past. Obviously with COVID, we've been limited, and we had some support online tutoring resources that were offered. But hopefully when we get back in the swing of things, we all know that in-person one-to-one instruction is most helpful. We have run that Tuesdays and Thursdays after school for an hour. You don't have to commit to doing all 3. Sometimes you just want to come one day. So hopefully we'll get it up and running next year. We have a student center where kids, a teacher runs it, a retired teacher that actually has come back to support us as counselors and teachers. And it's a place to print in case your printer's down. She helps kids if they're behind in school. So we kind of work together. Sometimes she takes them a little bit longer to kind of help them catch up, review areas, look at where the concerns are, the problem areas. Mrs. Larson and I are here to help all the kids, not just academically. We're here for the friendship part, the social emotional, the study skills, the work habits. When there is a question, wait, that might be in the next slide. Is that the next slide, Mrs. Larson? Okay, so I'm glad this is being taped because that was a lot to know about 6th grade. But again, we will be sharing that with them and practicing it with them when they start here. When you have a concern, we are happy to be your sounding board, venting, that is fine. I do feel that waiting 24 hours before we fly off the handle, maybe send a message that we might regret a little bit later. We all know our kids do it in text. Sometimes we do it with our friends or spouses. But anyway, I like sleep on something, kind of have your child explain it again, reach out to the teacher. Hey, this is what Susie came home and said. I'm not sure. I wasn't in the classroom. If you can give me a little perspective on what was happening before I kind of either get upset or at least try to work through this problem so we can move on to the next day. If you still aren't getting response from a teacher after trying to contact them, feel free to do it one more time and include Mrs. Larson or myself. Sometimes it's helpful if we're all on the same page, understand what's going on. We work here with the teachers. We can go follow up with them. We can pull in the kid and follow up and find out what is going on. That's what we're here for. We can schedule meetings if there's concerns in multiple classes. And sometimes that's generated by you guys at home, seeing some patterns that are making you a little uncomfortable or just questioning. Or sometimes teachers are like, do you have this concern? Are they turning in assignments for you? Do they have low test scores? Are they poking Johnny with the pencil a lot in your class? So those are all things that we can get together and talk about and move forward in problem solving. Other communications you'll get is the principal does blasts. Sometimes it's for the whole school. So always check your spam and trash. Sometimes things tend to go in there. Sometimes it's just grade specific. Like right now we're sending a lot of messages to 8th grade families. So it'll just go to 8th grade families and parents. We have a Twitter. You see the hashtag right there. We also have obviously our Miraleste page that has school information. We also have on Instagram an MIS ASB page. And moving along to these final things, when in doubt, contact us. We're here to help. We're here to be your middle person to kind of bridge any kind of communication, any gaps you feel like there are. Obviously, we are all on the same team. Kids are successful if home and school work together. That's just the bottom line. So the more communication we can have, the better we will all be. I think I'm moving on to you, Mrs. Larson. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Malinowski, and my apologies to the families for the slides getting ahead of themselves. I am working from home and my mouse got caught up in my mouse pad. So I'm Mrs. Larson. I'm here to talk about ways we can support your students. So in the next month, we will be visiting the 3 feeder elementary schools, myself, Ms. Malinowski, and selected student leaders to share student perspectives of a day in the life of middle school and how to transition easier. So it's a great time for your students to ask questions of Mr. Califano or Mr. Leaholt, who will also be accompanying us, as well as asking students specifically, how did you guys navigate all of this? When we do return at the first week of school, we have what's called an ice cream mixer. That is specifically for students who are new to PVP USD. But the way we support all incoming 6th grade students is through our web program, which stands for Where Everybody Belongs. So every single 6th grade student, as well as 7th and 8th graders who are new to the district, will be assigned to 2 8th grade leader mentors who will support them throughout the school year. Those students are trained through the summertime to run Web Rookie Camp. Easier said than say that 5 times fast, but they will be, they're trained to teach, to lead students through games that all have a purpose. And the purpose is to help them navigate middle school, ask for help. There will be a campus tour through Web Rookie Camp as well. And following that will be our 6th grade pizza and pool party. So it basically starts at 8 in the morning and it goes all the way up until 2 o'clock. It's a long day. It's a wonderful day. During that time, while your students are in the web program, you will have an opportunity as a parent, should you want a campus tour, you would be able to meet up with a fellow ambassador and they could take you around campus and just kind of show you the way around. Should that not be something that fits in with your schedule, you can always reach out to Ms. Malinowski and myself, and we would be happy to arrange a time where we can share our beautiful campus with you all. We do follow up the first week or second week of school traditionally with a 6th grade transition lesson, which will we go through a variety of topics in this. It's delivered in language arts class. Each period, we survey the students what their concerns are, we collect their answers, and we make sure we address all of their concerns at that time. But it's anywhere from how to open a lock, how to make new friends, where to seek help, time management. I mean, it's just a very big, it's a big presentation. It goes fast and furious, but we feel it's a great time to bond with your students and give them the information we feel traditionally is best that they need. We do follow up in September with a harassment and technology safety lesson with all 3 grades. And then throughout the year, we do base our guidance and curriculum lessons based on what the California Healthy Kids Surveys results are from the year prior, what their concerns are, as well as teacher feedback, student feedback. So we will be in the classroom a lot just to kind of make sure that your students are getting the life lessons and the social emotional lessons that we feel are particular to your students' grade level. Conflict mediation comes in 7th grade. Lunch lounge is something that is fantastic for our 6th graders. We really try to capture those that are not really maybe making a lot of social connections or a little bit more shy, kind of want a quiet place to engage during lunch. This year it was open every Wednesday. It's a drop-in session, no need to RSVP, but students can come into the designated classroom, play games, chat with others. It's a real nice way for us to kind of make sure that we tend to those that are a little bit more shy or not fully comfortable on our campus. So there's lots of ways that the counselors and the programs on campus can help. We also try to update our guidance and curriculum counseling, counseling and guidance page. It's up on Edleo, which Mr. Califano referred to. And these are just a couple examples of books that we found super helpful for families to kind of understand how to navigate the teenage years based on whatever resources we find that are district approved and that we have really vetted out. We will always update just so you have another maybe resource to reference when your student gets to school. And now I will pass it over to Mr. Leaholt.
Hey, everybody. As you can see, we have a really good team. And, from what you can see from our counselors, we know that when kids come to middle school, that there can be nerves. There's a lot of things that are happening, but your kids are in really good hands with the team that we have here. Probably some of the biggest anxiety for kids coming here is just the fact that, right, you're moving between 6 classes. You have a couple different lockers. There's going to be homework, on a daily basis. And there's just a lot more freedom that comes with all of this. But, kids settle in really quickly. They adapt very quickly to the campus. And we find that, honestly, they have a really good time. But if there's things that come up, Mrs. Malinowski and Mrs. Larson are fantastic, and the kids can come to the office anytime and see any of the administrators or counselors, and we'll help them through it. One of the things of our campus, if you haven't been here before, is that we are a big campus. We used to be a high school, which gives us great facilities. So we have a beautiful blacktop, great fields. We're the only middle school that has a pool. We have a wood shop. We have amazing STEM facilities. Our science classrooms have full labs in them. So being the fact that we were a high school gives your kids a lot of opportunities here in our classes. So don't worry about anything. We're here to guide your kids, and we're here to make sure that they're safe. Now, with that, obviously, with all of that freedom, there comes a lot more personal responsibility. And as the assistant principal, one of the things that I do deal with is obviously discipline. And so with that personal responsibility and with that freedom, we know that kids can make mistakes, but just know that the thing that we do is we always approach everything kind of from a counseling and growth perspective. And so if a kid does make a mistake, we'll handle it with care. We treat the kids the way we would treat our own kids. And our goal with anything is always to make sure that they learn from it, they grow from it, and hopefully if it was a mistake, they don't make that mistake again. Attendance, we know, is tied directly, statistics show attendance is tied directly to success at school. So please make sure that you're getting your kids to school on time and that they're attending. If there's always things that can come up, and if there are things, just let us know and we'll help you through them, whether that's through an independent study, if we have to just help you out with connecting with the teachers and things like that. So, but we know attendance is super important. Okay, cell phones. So this is a big one. Cell phones are a really big, obviously a big deal as you get into middle school. Most students do have cell phones. And I personally feel super strongly about this. And so we do have a really strict cell phone policy on our campus that is enforced. And the reason for this is part of the personal growth component. We allow cell phones before school and after school. We don't allow students to, video on campus unless there's some type of an event, things like that. And we only allow cell phones during the school day so that if our kids need them for educational purposes. And there's plenty of times where teachers will allow a student to be able to use their cell phone for something like a Kahoot, because it may be quicker than a whole class of students going and grabbing Chromebooks, things like that. So our teachers are flexible and do allow use of cell phones, but it's only for educational purposes. If a student's caught with a cell phone and they're not supposed to be using it, it ends up on my desk. There's a pile there every single day. And we give the student a warning. And then on the second offense, I send an email home and I ask that you come and pick up the cell phone. If it becomes something that's caused a problem on the campus, then we do ban cell phones for students. The reason this is such a strict policy is to have our kids be able to interact with each other. If you walk around and you see kids before school, they will huddle over a phone and stare at a phone, or they'll be buried in it in video games. And I understand that can be a social aspect for kids, but I want to see kids interact with each other and build relationships with each other by actually having conversations face to face. And this is a policy that we've had in place since Mr. Califano and I started here. And it's a policy that's going to continue because I do think it's in the best interest of our kids. And so that is a really strict policy that we do hold. And, I hope that everybody that's on this meeting understands why and will support us with that. And so we want to provide your kids basically with the best possible experience that we can here. And that's a big part of it. So, all right, Lisa, next slide. Your elementary school likely has a positive behavior intervention and supports program, which is essentially a program that talks about building behavior expectations. And so those are expectations throughout the campus and in their classrooms. And a lot of these programs have kind of an acronym that's associated with it, right? Or letters that are associated with something. And so for us, being Miraleste MIS, ours is mindfulness, integrity, and success. And our expectations are built around these three words. And so as students come onto campus next year and we meet with them, we'll talk to them about campus expectations, and our teachers will talk to them about classroom expectations. We'll share with them an expectations matrix and kind of just spell out, how we can all get along on this campus through mindfulness, integrity, and success. We also have a reward system that's built in through this that's tied directly to our Mighty Marauder Club. And with that, we have yellow cards that are handed out to students when we see them, helping each other out, doing a good deed. If you find a lost cell phone or piece of jewelry, bringing that to the office, picking up some trash or just helping out a friend. So we do these yellow cards, and then at the end of each trimester, we do a big super raffle. And Ms. Godbold's holding up one of those cards right now. And we held the super raffle today. Mrs. Godbold's a big part of it. With a lot of support, from our parent organizations. And we had over 3,000 cards that were in the raffle today, just from the third trimester. And we raffled off some pretty cool stuff like Tilly's gift cards and custom beanies that were made for Miraleste. So the kids really enjoy it, and it's a really good program to help, kind of promote what we expect on our campus. Go ahead, Lisa. Okay, we mentioned this a little bit, and you hear the term EdLeo often. EdLeo is just essentially our websites. And so your two main places that you can start finding information, right? If you're in the school district, you know how to use pvpusd.net. That's your spot for everything about the district. You want to see the calendar for next year. You want to know about departments. You want to get to, various schools. You can get to all of that directly from our district website. Our Miraleste website, I encourage everybody to start to look at. You can see everything that's happening on our campus. You'll see things for next year. You'll see things that are coming up, in the upcoming weeks, and just kind of get a feel for the Miraleste campus. So that's mis.pvpusd.net. And then our elementary school students, I know because I have two of them myself, are very comfortable using the PVPUSD portal. And so within that portal, you have the Office 365 suite. And then for us, because we're broken, for our academics, we have pieces in the portal that are tied to each of our academics. Our math program is Big Ideas Math, Big Ideas Learning. And so there's access through there. Our ELA program is through StudySync, also available in the portal. Science adopted FOSS this year, also through our portal. And social studies is currently in a pilot process for an adoption for the following school year. And so I'm assuming that that'll also tie directly into our portal. The other piece, and this is through our portal, but you can log in directly through Google as well, is we are a Google-based school. And so our students use Google, all of our teachers use Google Classroom. It is your spot to be able to maintain and track what's happening directly in your classes. So a big part of being a sixth grade parent is that your kids, it's not one piece of communication from a single teacher or a couple teachers. Now you have 6 different teachers. So if your student is coming home and there's a question about what's happening in the class, I encourage you highly to sit down with them and have them log into their Google Classroom and take a look, see what's in the stream, see what's posted for classwork. All of our teachers use this. It's a really good resource, and it can be accessed also through the portal. All right, go ahead, Larson. Miraleste is very involved. I actually had no idea. I worked at Peninsula for a lot of years, and I know what happens at a high school and how many activities there are. I had no idea when I came to Miraleste just how involved this school is and how much there is to offer outside of academics. It's a really fun place, and it's a very welcoming place. And so you'll see on the screen in front of you, we have things like Marauder Madness, dress up days. Halloween is probably the biggest day of the year here. Everybody gets dressed up. So if your 6th grader is a little concerned about getting dressed up for Halloween, they should not be. It's a huge day here, and it's a lot of fun. Our associated student body, we have intramural sports at lunch. I will say, they're hurting us right now. We just got through 2 games of futsal, and there's a lot of injured adults on this campus, but a lot of fun. So essentially with the intramural sports, our students sign up in teams and they compete against each other, and the winning team for 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade then plays against the staff. Tons of fun at lunch, and the kids really enjoy it, and the staff enjoy it, even when we get hurt. And then I just had mentioned the super raffle as well. After school, lots of activities. Obviously a big one, especially for 6th grade, is cotillion. And then lots of stuff through our Miraleste boosters. To give you an example, I'll run through just what's being offered this spring. Swim club, guitar club, speech and debate, water polo for beginners, tennis, art, track and field, and wrestling. And so we rotate clubs through our different seasons, but lots of ways for kids to get involved. All right. And then enrollment. So if you're currently in a PVP USD school and live within the Miraleste boundaries, you're automatically going to be transferred to Miraleste. If you are not currently enrolled in a PVP USD school, you do not start the process at our school. You start that process through pvpusd.net and contact the enrollment center. However, if you have questions, our registrar is one of the best people on this earth, and that's Mrs. Cross. And you can give her a call here and she will help you, guide you directly where you need to be in the process. All right, I'm going to kick it back to you, Mr. Califano.
And Michael, speak for yourself. I have 15 years on you and I still played. So am I sore? Absolutely. Boy, these kids are some very good soccer players. I can tell you that. It's so much fun playing against them with the intramural piece. And as Mike said, there are just so many things we have to offer here. Both of my daughters came through Miraleste, and I think of their school experiences, they still believe Miraleste, the 3 years here, was the best of their times. So, you know, and once again, you know, you saw all of the things we have to offer, but I think the biggest thing we have to really emphasize to our kids is to get involved with their school, get involved in all of those activities that we have. It's a great way to make new friends. There's going to be kids coming from 5 different elementary schools. So we normally have a class size of about 300 kids. So lots of opportunities for kids to make new friends from other schools. I mean, it really is a great place. I previously mentioned the reason why we had this tonight and why we couldn't do it in person, etc. One of the reasons why we couldn't wait and push this a little bit later is because for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be visiting elementary schools. So tonight we get to meet you as parents. For the next 2 weeks, we get to meet your kids. The nice thing about that is we get to go in person. Last year, we didn't get to go in person. It was online and it wasn't the same. So we are really looking forward the next 2 weeks to going visiting and meeting your kids and welcoming them to the Miraleste family. I think you would agree, we have an incredible team here. Our counselors are phenomenal. Mike Leholt is, he'll be a principal very, very shortly. This team is unbelievable, but I also want to emphasize the summer program, especially for incoming 6th graders, is invaluable. It gives you a chance to learn the campus, meet some of the teachers, take some great classes. I highly recommend it, highly. The other piece I wanted to throw out there, we really want to build our music program. We have an incredible music teacher in Mr. Reeder. I believe in the next week or two, he's actually going to be going to elementary schools himself, bringing some of his kids. The music program here, I really, really recommend highly. And it's a year-long program, as Ms. Melanovsky stated before. But I suggest you take a look. That being said, we are open for questions. I know Ms. Melanovsky has been answering them as they come. If you have questions, go ahead and go into the chat and we will answer them to the best of our ability.
And if I may take a moment to interject, there were a few dates that I wanted to share with the parents. At this time, we encourage parents of 5th grade families to actually come to our student store and purchase locks in advance, because actually opening a lock, the lockers are probably the most exciting thing for our 6th graders, to be honest. But learning how to open a lock can be a little bit of a challenge. So if you come early, sometime this year, we will be opening up our student store August 8th from 8 to 1 o'clock. We will also be having textbook distribution from August 16th through the 18th. And Web Rookie Camp will be Wednesday, August 17th. So if coming this year doesn't work for your schedule, if you can slate some time before our school actually starts and, become familiar with the campus, purchase your PE clothes, your agenda planner, your locks, practice the locks before they actually get assigned a locker. That takes a lot of stress off of the students. So thank you for letting me interject with some of those important dates to calendar, and they are on Edleo.
Mrs. Godwold, did you, I know this PowerPoint will probably be shown. What are the dates and for the summer school PEP program, and then the time of day from what to what?
So let me just grab it real fast so I say the right thing here. Gosh, should I not include that? So it's June. You know what? Do you have another question? I'll look it up really fast.
Sure.
I have it right here, June
you do.
21st to July 15th.
Great.
Okay, someone was just asking what are the options?
Oh.
We all know that people are driving to pick up a middle school or high school or elementary school, and traffic, we all know, is not so welcoming after school. The options after school, some kids walk to the Miraleste library and wait to be picked up. Some kids obviously will participate in a club. Some just almost sit out by the flagpole here and visit with their friends until getting picked up. But we don't have any programs like we used to, like elementary school. They have Kids Corner. We used to have Teen Scene, but we don't have that anymore. Oh, backpacks, right. Backpacks are not allowed, which is why the kids go to their lockers in between classes. We found in high school, you can't bring your backpacks, but a lot of times these backpacks are a distraction, one, because they're constantly fishing in it, looking for things. We're trying to help them be an advocate and be more organized. And they also sometimes just like cause a lot of like nuisances in the aisles. Like, there's 34 in a class sometimes. And when you have all those backpacks, it's hard for teachers to kind of move around and help out kids, and kids getting together with their desks to work together. So I think those are the main reasons why we don't have backpacks.
So just to clarify, we allow backpacks to come to the campus. All kids basically carry a backpack back and forth to school. We just don't allow them in the classrooms.
Karen, I
Okay.
think someone also asked what time summer school is. It's
Right.
8:15 until 12:30.
About morning drop off pickup. I mean, it's just like there's only one way in and one way out.
Actually, we'll be sending you a map in August. I mean, there'll be a blast showing you a map, and it have arrows showing the pickup and drop off. You do it once and you have it. It's down. The thing that I can tell you is traffic does get backed up. You know, and there are days when, you know, it's slower than normal. Other days it flows. There's really no rhyme or reason for it. We have increased traffic guards both on Miraleste Drive and PV Drive, which has allowed flow to happen quicker. We also took out half of the road bumps coming up the hill, which has actually helped traffic a bit also, because the buses don't have to slow down now. So there will be a blast in August giving you a map of the route for traffic. And like I said, once you do it once, you'll have the hang of it.
Yeah, some kids walk to the deli with friends down the street by the fire station. That's one place where parents pick up. So that would be another option. Again, that's a lot of kids walking there too, but if that helps you with getting here and not having to go through here because you have to pick up another kid after, then that would be one option. About math, I meant to talk about that a little bit. So if you're in one of our schools right now, elementary schools, your teachers are making the recommendations for math. So math placement is based on teacher recommendations. So it should be Math 6 or Math 6 Excel, unless the few of you out there that have a child that already attends here for a math class, then that's a different pathway. I don't believe we do any testing prior. So talk to your current teacher. We don't typically have kids skip a whole grade either. You like jumping from 5th grade math to like 7, 8 Excel. But those are conversations you need to have with your current 5th grade teacher. The bus, you have to go to PV Transit. They have all different kinds of routes for you to look up to see what's best for where you live. There's also a phone number. Sometimes it's easier to ask the person like, okay, this is where I live. Where's the pickup and what line is that? The green line, the yellow line, the blue line, whatever they are. So go to their website. It's just pvtransit.com, maybe something like that.
It is. And normally we have flyers with the bus routes that are put together, but things have been so out of whack because they've had to change bus routes because they've been short drivers. We haven't had a flyer for really the past 2 years. So the best way is to go on to the PV Transit website and take a look at it. They have a pretty easy map that you can look at once you get on there.
Mrs. Larson, the rookie camp on August 17th. That's also the day of the pool party, correct?
Yes, it is. So rookie camp is from 8 to 12. Then the students will be dropped off into 8th grade park where the Miraleste ambassadors will serve them pizza and then take them down to the pool party until 2 o'clock.
Okay. Kids, of course, can bring their own lunch. They can take lunch here or they can bring their own lunch. I would say we get a split, probably 50-50, but every year is different. But yes, of course, you can bring your own lunch. We don't know the start time for school yet. I believe we don't, correct?
The proposal right now is all 3 intermediate schools will start at the exact same time, which is 8:15.
8:15 still.
Yes.
Okay. I know there's talk about like later. Exit at the back gate by the library. Yes, that gate kids can go that way. They go through the blacktop to get to the Miraleste library though, I believe. Yes.
And to be honest, our public library is a fantastic place for students to do homework after school if you can't get them right away. They sell snacks, they have our textbooks, they have access to computers.
Mhm.
They ask that our parents do not pick up there after school hours because the parking lot is tiny and they like to reserve it for patrons. But if your student needs to stay after there and you come a little bit after school ends, that's absolutely fine.
Yes, kids can ride their bikes to school. I would send a bike lock. There is where you can lock up your bike. We don't have after school care like Kids Corner in elementary school. But hopefully we will have some homework club. And then again, obviously, if your kids make one of our Miraleste sports teams that represent our school, that could be something after school for weeks at a time. Hopefully we'll get homework club for a few days in person. Those would be options after school. Do you guys know, maybe Mr. Lehal knows, what is the accelerated math placement test they're taking in elementary school this week? Does anyone, Mr. Calfano, do you guys know anything about it?
That would be part of the placement process with the recommendation for fifth to go into a 6 Excel class. And so once all of that's completed, if they're doing the placement test, it'll likely be tied. I don't know where it's at this year, but if it's how it's been in previous years, it's tied from the placement tests, grades from the first couple trimesters, and then a teacher recommendation. And they have a way that they make a determination to recommend into 6 Excel or just our regular Math 6 class. And then again, if you were recommended for the Math 6 class and not the Excel, but you were going to do that, then it's highly encouraged that you enroll in that 2-hour math class that's going to be held at Ridgecrest this summer. And so keep an eye on those. If you're going in that direction, keep an eye on those enrollment dates for the summer school program.
All right, well, especially with having like basically 2 years of math online. That's why it would, for sure, at this time in their lives would be a good time to do that if that's the path you want to go. We let out at, as of right now, on Mondays at 1:55 and Tuesday through Friday at 3. So I haven't been in the elementary world for a long time. So I'm thinking they're a little bit before us. They get out, their dismissal is probably a little bit before us. But they have different like kindergarten and first through, yeah. I'm probably not the best one to answer that one, but they definitely get out a few minutes before we do.
And our bill schedule is posted on Edleo. So these are great questions, but a lot of these answers could be found on Edleo.
And one of the reasons why we do release at 1:55 on Mondays is that is our teacher meeting day. So every Monday, it's a 1:55 dismissal. We have teacher meetings, department meetings, etc. on those days.
Here's a summer school question, and from one of our favorite pastime, Mrs. Levine is back with her little one. Oh my goodness. Questions about summer school. What's the earliest time someone could be dropped off? Is there a time?
So, hi, Mrs. Levine. Looking forward to seeing you again. I'm here around 7 o'clock. So there are kids who actually are dropped off before I am in the summer. But typically, you know, anytime after 7 is fine. We don't have the same traffic flow issues that they do during the school year because there's only about 220 kids that are here. So if you're worried about, you know, trying to get through the flow of traffic, it's nothing like it is during the school year. And yes, we will have traffic guards at the bottom of PV Drive East and the Miraleste driveway. We will have a traffic guard at the street that's down from the public library. And we will also have, I think there also will be a guard going to the crosswalk where the fire station is.
Thank you. Questions about gate. If your kid is already classified as gate, that's in Aries. There's no classes that are gate. Kids are placed in accelerated classes based on teacher recommendation and class performance, test performance, things like that. So the district sometimes offers some programs for students classified as gate, sometimes on the weekend, but obviously with COVID, we haven't had anything pertaining to that. So I'm not sure what the plan would be moving forward for next year for that.
And yes, gate does carry over, and 6th graders have the opportunity to test one more time. And that test usually occurs in October. There will be a letter sent home to all 6th graders who are not classified as gate to be able to test to see if they would qualify as a GATE student. So if your student is GATE, no worries, it carries over. If your student is not GATE just yet, you'll have one more opportunity in the 6th grade.
I think I've gone through all of them, either typed to you guys or tried to say them out loud, these questions, so that everyone could hear them and the answers. I think we're good. Obviously, after this, if you still have questions or the unknown, feel free to email us. But when it comes to like the math classes and things like that, obviously go to your elementary school teacher. Otherwise, if you have some questions or maybe things that are specific more to your child that you want Mrs. Larson or myself to know ahead of the game, we welcome that information as well.
I just want to thank you all for joining us tonight. As I said, we look forward to going to the elementary schools the next couple of weeks and meeting your kids. It's always a great experience to do that. And again, hopefully you have a wonderful end of the year. Have a great summer. And then we look forward to seeing you in August. My best to you all.
Yes, good night. Thank you.